Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here with us. I want to introduce Sage, who's also here with us today. Sage?
Hi, everybody. Welcome to our third webinar. How exciting that we're keeping our momentum going, and Kate and I are really excited to present this new information that we have tonight.
And
And go ahead, Kate.
and nervous. We're always a bit
And
nervous before these webinars, aren't we?
yeah, we'll just put that out there. I was telling her, I don't know why I get like this nervousness in my chest, and I have to work on myself before, but luckily we have the tools to do that. And the nervousness means actually for me, it just tells me how much I want to be of service to the people that I'm working with, how I want to be able to present information that's really going to help you change your lives and is really going to mean something to you and make sense to you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
once I understand that, then I'm able to calm my nerves down a little bit.
Great. Yeah. So today what we're going to be doing is, well, Sage is going to be doing some teaching about the manifestation process, which is kind of like the beginning of what the work in the program will be about. So you get kind of a taste, a very small taste in a way, but you still get a taste of what the program will be teaching. And of course, at the same time, you will be also experiencing this for yourself because we'll be doing a manifestation exercise at the end. So we are really, I'm personally really excited about this because I'm going to be working on myself as well a little bit as we're doing this. Um, and I just want to check that everybody can actually also type in with chat because we want to know your questions as we're going through. We're going to ask, what's going on for you, how you're experiencing things, any questions to clarify certain parts of the teaching as we're running through. So can you just, if you're there and you know how to, can you just type in, yeah, I'm here, yeah, I get you, yes, all the
And
things.
also, Kate, I want to ask that everybody say, yes, I can see the screen. Does
Yeah,
everybody see
absolutely.
the words abundant goddess manifestation exercise?
So into the chat, you can just type in a message and you can just put it so it goes to the organizers only. If you click on organizers only, and then you'll see it going like I can do, like, hi everyone. You should be able to all see that. Yeah? That makes sense. So just go for it, guys. Let me see if you can do that. I'm going to see if I can read those. Uh, let's see where we're at. I think people are still kind of trying to work out how to do that. Or maybe everyone's really shy. We've got a fair few people here.
If at least one or two people could say, yes, we see the screen, then we can move forward.
It's only us that's going to be seeing it. I think there's a question there. Let's see what that is. Hi, Shelley. What's the question? Oh, Shelley? Hello? Oh, I think she's taken.
There's a hand up, and then it went down.
Oh, well, maybe she hasn't got a question. Okay, well, let's just go forwards. And if anybody has any questions as we're going along, just let us know, yeah? So
So Kate, can you see the screen at least? I'm hoping that everybody.
I can see the screen, so I'm assuming everybody else can. Yeah.
Screen sharing thing. Let me just make sure that I.
I know I can see it. It came up.
Okay, good. All right. Okay, good. So we're going to go ahead and start going through the
Yeah.
PowerPoint presentation. All right. So I have been doing lots of reading. I always do before I teach a class, and I was reading Napoleon Hill's book. I don't know if any of you guys ever read Napoleon Hill. Most of you guys are probably younger than me, but this was one of the very first books that ever came out on manifesting, and it was literally written in the 1950s.
Wow.
But it's called Think and Grow Rich. I've got it underlined there. He was a really interesting man. He was a reporter, and his job, he wanted to write a book on how the most rich people in the United States became rich. How did they do it? So he literally interviewed 500 of the richest men in the United States. And then he wrote a book about what he learned. And from that book, then many, many people became wealthy. And it was really groundbreaking at the time, and it's still, when I read through this book all these years later, it's still just as relevant now as it was then. And one of the things that people that we've been talking about are, looking at your beliefs and your thoughts. And the thing that Napoleon Hill's whole book about was of how your mind operated, what you did with your thinking. And that he said that your thoughts are actually things, which is what now in quantum physics is starting to understand. Now in the year 2000, quantum physics has the science to understand that your thoughts have an impact on your physical reality around you. Your thoughts have an impact on your body and your feelings. So Napoleon Hill talked about how powerful your thoughts are, and that when they're mixed with this feeling of definiteness, purpose, persistence, and burning desire for their translation into riches or other material objects, that is your greatest force in nature to activate, is the power of your mind. Humans, I think, have no idea actually how powerful our minds are. And when I was reading through, there's another book called the I Am Discourse on Supply, and it's a compilation of a lot of different channelings that were also done in the 1950s. And that in that book, the Ascended Masters are talking about the same thing, that your thoughts have an impact on your physical world, and that everything that you think that you're creating, even when you're sleeping, every single thought that randomly goes through your head is in a process of creation. And not only your thoughts, but your feelings, and everything that you have in your body is a vibration. Every thought you have has a vibrational quality to it. Every feeling you have has a vibrational quality to it. Every behavior that you do in the world has a vibrational quality to it. And that's why the feelings and the thoughts and your words are things, because they're energy, actually. And energy is measurable. And energy has an effect on the world around you and the universe around you. And the more that we can really integrate that knowing, the more that we really understand how powerful we are, then the more we're going to be able to utilize our minds for positive outcomes. Napoleon Hill was talking about how people look at the world around them and they focus on the results of what I'm going to go back up for just a second. They focus on the results of what's in their life, and that's where their energy is focused. So let's say your world around you, without any intention, you're just sort of living your life, and life is unfolding. And so because of that, your relationships are just what they are. Your health in your body is either really healthy or you're really suffering, or your finances are, they just are what they are. But what he's saying is that you manifested all of that with your thoughts, and also I always want to make sure that people know that there's also pre-birth agreements, that you set up certain situations and you're meant to go through some level of struggle because of the lessons that you're meant to learn. But a large part of what we're living with in our life is a manifestation of our thoughts. And that he's saying that it's actually the wrong focus, to focus on the results of what's around you and the emotional reactions you have to what's happening in your life. The right focus is to go back to the thought about, how did I get here? What have I been thinking that this is what has manifested in my life? Not, oh my God, look at what's here, and now I'm really suffering and I feel victimized by my life. That is how people stay stuck in their realities. And our work is to become really conscious and understand that we are God beings. So it's really fascinating when I love this picture because it shows the whole energy body, that really we are energy beings. We're not just physical form. We're not separate from our universe. If you look at Carillion photography that can look at the aura, there is no real clear beginning and end of where you start and where you end. You just exist. And actually we exist in so many more planes of existence than what we think we do. So most of you, I'm assuming on this call, understand that we have chakras, and if you don't, they're energy centers in your body that Eastern people know about. And those energy centers are not just your 7 chakras. Those energy centers go up and up and up. You have 4th dimensional chakras, 5th dimensional chakras, 6th dimensional chakras. They go up and up and up. Imagine yourself having 64 chakras. And your auric layers go out and out and out. You expand into this really such a multi-dimensional place. So both Napoleon Hill and the Ascended Masters are saying that you can start with a picture in your head. So right now as we go through this, I want you guys to start working on yourself. So I want you to imagine what is it that you want to create in your life. And I want you to think about how sometimes your mind thinks about it, then it doesn't think about it, then you go on to other things. And at every moment, if you're trying to manifest something in your life, but you don't have a clear picture, you're still creating. And so the universe is like, well, a minute ago you were creating this, but now you're afraid, and now you're not creating that anymore. So, okay, we'll stop creating that for you. And then you go in another direction, think, well, now maybe I want this. And so the universe says, okay, I guess we're changing directions, and now we'll go here. So what happens is you don't really get with any consistency and stability the things that you're trying to manifest. Sometimes your income may go up, it may go down, your relationships are good, they're bad, your health is good or bad. So you must learn to get very clear in your picture that there is nothing in this world that anybody has ever created or ever manifested that didn't first start with a thought. And that thought has a picture to it. And you need to learn to use the pictures in your head as really, really detailing in every detail that you can imagine what that picture is going to look like. You can look at what colors are in there, what everybody's feeling, who's in the picture, the series of events that you would like to see, your relationship to them. And then once you have a very clear picture, you need to infuse that picture with emotion. So your thoughts send out a message to the universe hears it, but it's your feelings that charge the energy of it and magnetize it to come to you faster. And so the more that you put your thoughts and your feeling into it, the more that you're using actually your own life force energy. So last week we talked about, I want to just remind you what we talked about last week, that if you imagine you have from your higher self, your I Am Presence, 100 strands of light coming down into your body. That's your life force energy, and you're free to do whatever you want to with that energy. You're free to use it however you want. And as we go through life, we have different traumas and events that we become attached to. Our mind travels back to those events and relives them. Our emotions get trapped in the emotions of all those things. And until you clear those out and forgive those events completely, those strands of light dropping into your mind are being siphoned off into your history so that you actually don't have the life force energy to work with in the intentional way that you need to. So you need to remember that it's your life force energy that creates. I'm going to say it again. It's your life force energy brings to you and manifests your life. So the more available life force energy you have in your body and in your consciousness, the more powerful and focused your ability to create is going to be. Let me just read this last one. Everything you do in your physical life, either you do with your own life energy or you do not produce the results. Yes, that's just what I'm saying. So you want to be able to increase your life force energy in all kinds of ways by eating a good diet, actually, because the higher frequency of food that you put into your body, the higher frequency of light you're able to hold. When you exercise on a regular basis, you're clearing out toxins in your body and you're building life force energy in your body. And so you can hold more energy. The more that you clear out every single past event that you felt was painful or wounded you, using the violet flame or forgiveness or whatever you do to clear out, is imperative to your manifesting. And just holding a frequency of light, that you have positive thoughts, you have positive feelings, that increases your light frequency. And then having a connection to spirit opens up the channels in your crown chakra for that energy to flow into your life. It's like your power center. It's your main power switch is in your crown chakra, your connection to your own spiritual nature.
So, Sage, it's what you're saying. There's lots of different ways. I just want to kind of bring in one thing as well that I've particularly noticed in my life that really, has been a huge big deal for me in the way I've been able to personally increase my connection with my own higher self. And for me, it's been having no television, and it's been really kind of taking a step back to the ways that we kind of absorb energy that brings us down, that's so subtle sometimes that we don't notice. And I haven't had a television for like 8 years, I think now. And it just changed. I mean, even in the first few weeks, I remember beginning to feel really different, like I wasn't like absorbing the thing. I didn't begin to I started believing different things, it's like, and I know over the last 8 years that my whole kind of consciousness has really deeply changed because I'm not kind of tuned in the same way that I used to be. Does that make some sense?
Well, it makes sense because I work with Ascended Masters and their teachings are stop watching television. And it's for one thing, television programming is intentionally created these days to dumb people down. The other thing is that this is what the Ascended Masters are saying, and that people who take it or leave it for whatever you believe, but your TV is sending wavelengths through your television to intentionally harm your energy body and your consciousness. So people who are, TV addicts are getting bombarded by this kind of dumbing down and negative energy all the time. I mean, it comes through your computers too. We have such a technological lifestyle now. And I'm in front of the computer. I was in front of the computer 8 hours yesterday. It's just the way life is. But I totally agree with you that the television is one of those places. And also, nature is another way to really increase your frequency. Mm-hmm. Most people know that when you go out in nature, just being out there, you feel better.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And there are lots of different things. So studying about how to increase your life force energy, sitting with crystals, going into hot springs, going into moving water, into rivers, meditation, getting body work, all those kind of things increase your vibrational frequency in your body and give you more life force energy to work with.
I know, and I know that just having a shower, actually, a lot of intuition comes from me when I'm in the shower. Because it's like I'm clearing, I'm connected, and my energy body's clearing in that moment. I get all my best intuitions in the shower, actually.
Yes, it's moving water. Yeah. Moving water creates negative ions, and negative ions are actually positive. They're not negative. They're the things that make us feel good.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go on to the next screen here. So the next thing, that once you have a picture in your mind, and you've really focused, you've created clarity, you're infusing it with your positive emotions, you need to keep that momentum going. So most people we're such short-term memory people here, and things move from one thing to the next, and our lives are so busy that actually keeping a sense of momentum going is very difficult for people. And that one of the most common causes of failure is quitting before you get the results, because you either have a temporary defeat or you just you get discouraged because it's not happening fast enough for you, so you think it's not really working. And one of the things that I learned in Napoleon Hill's book that was really fascinating was that out of that 500 people that he interviewed, the richest men on the planet, all of them at one point or another had experienced defeat. And many of them learned their greatest lessons. He told this one story about this guy who had gone out west he wanted to mine for gold. And he found a little vein of gold, and he went back he covered it up, he went back home, got all of his family and friends to pitch in to buy all the material and the machines that they needed, which was an enormous amount of money for them at the time. He came back out, dug in his vein of gold, and didn't find any gold. And he kept digging, and he gave up, and he ended up selling the gold mining equipment to somebody around the area. But that somebody knew about gold veins or something, and he went back to that same mine, and 3 feet later, he struck gold and made an enormous amount of money. And the guy who sold him the machinery learned a huge lesson, because he kept in contact with that guy, that he was 3 feet away from gold, and he never let a no stop him again, and he became one of the richest men in America. And how many times all of us have done that we've come so close that we've quit, or we get scared and we quit, or we get discouraged and we quit, or we talk to other people. This is huge. We talk to other people who are discouraging, and they don't see they don't encourage you or motivate you. Instead, their own fears and their own programming come up to sabotage you, and then we get sucked into that, and then we quit. And so determination is one of those determination and forward momentum is critical.
So what do you think really supports, you're probably going to go on to this in a second, but what do you think really supports people to garner that determination within? So they can, I can talk about it from my life, but what do you think?
Well, why don't you talk about it first? Because you have a sense of determination. I've watched you. Kate's amazing. She's got so much determination that she gets, her determination alone catapults me forward.
Wow, thank you. I'm not sure about that, but I do have a lot of determination, I guess. I don't know, I think focus is a big part of that as well, isn't it? But that sort of sense of your will, that sometimes it can kind of feel so powerful, and it can feel so uncompromising, and you almost feel invincible. It's actually quite scary at times when you're in this like really invincible place, and you're like, nothing and no one is going to stop me here, and it's useful to connect with that power. But I think when you infuse that sense of focus and certainty with also a sense of softness and a kind of love, when you bring in that love to that realm of determination, when you fuse those two together, then it just makes you feel, like it, I don't know, it just kind of brings this sort of feeling over you where you just know it's your divine birthright to just have what you love and what makes you happy. And I think that is, for me, I think that's why I feel like the way I move forwards works for me, and works generally. I do get a lot done, and I feel like I can kind of really leap through things that maybe would have held me back way, way, way in the past. I don't really have a huge amount of edges. I just kind of move through things. But it's the love, I think, that really helps somehow. I don't know if I can put that any clearer.
No, that's very clear. I thought that was beautifully said. What I would add to that is that for me, it starts way back in the beginning about making a decision. So
Yeah.
what I find that myself, my process, and other people that I work with is that people are wishy-washy about the decision in the very beginning.
Yeah.
And that, like, oh, I should really change my diet. I really want to change my diet, but not today. I really want that cake today. Well, but tomorrow I'll change my diet and I know I'll feel better, or I'm going to really start exercising. I know I have got to start exercising. Well, I really have something else to do today. There's this wishy-washy around the decision
Oh, can I
making.
say something about that? I really want to say something about that, and I think that's really true. And I remember speaking to a client about this week, actually, that there's this sense that sometimes we don't see the reality that we're living in, and we don't see actually what we're doing to ourselves, and we don't know actually. We're not grounded enough to be able to actually understand what our body is doing, what we're doing to our own body through certain behaviors and certain thinking and stuff. And so, like, when you actually see then that reality of what it is that's actually happening, and you face that yourself there as well, then there's no choice but to really make a decision that, where you're choosing a better life for yourself or a higher way of being. Yeah, it's like,
Yeah, sometimes it's that you just get to that place where you've suffered enough and you're like, okay, that's it.
yeah,
I am done with the suffering. I have got to make a different decision. And, I think that people either make those big decisions sometimes because they're bored or because they suffered long enough. Sometimes it's hard for people just to make the right decision because it's the right decision. And other people are good at that. I personally am working on making good decisions just because it's good for me. But typically, I am one of those people who I suffer long enough and then I change.
yeah, yeah,
But I also, so it's the clarity of your decision, because really once the decision comes into place, 100%, 100% decision is made, then your energy body lines up in a totally different way. Then all of a sudden that clear 100% decision, you're sending a message to the universe that this is how it's going to be and nothing is going to change that. And then the whole universe lines up. But until you do that, you're in that wishy-washy place, then there's just confusion happening coming out of your body at every moment.
yeah.
So for me, that's the determination
Mm.
comes out of a clear decision. Yeah. Okay, so when I was listening also to a YouTube video on Bob Proctor was a really interesting man. He's one of the men who was interviewed in The Secret, and he read Napoleon Hill's book from cover to cover like 100 times, over and over again. And now he's one of these he teaches master classes on manifestation, and he's an older man. He's looks like, I don't know, he must be in his 80s, but so full of vitality and energy and incredibly wealthy. But he was talking about something that was really important to me, that the results meaning your life the way it is right now, are an expression of your level of awareness. And so Napoleon Hill says, what your mind can conceive and believe it can achieve. And we've all heard that statement before. So, for instance, I'm going to talk about some examples. Whatever your mind can conceive of is your level of awareness. And your level of awareness is really determined by the culture that you're raised in, the family that you're in, the people around you, what your friends talk about, how your life just unfolds. And if you never left that realm and you never asked, there's got to be more, what else is there, your level of awareness would stay there forever, really. And then that's all that you could manifest from, would be that level of awareness. So for an example, for me, when I was first being a therapist, I thought, well, I need to build my practice, and I think I'll just charge $25 an hour so that I can bring in as many people as possible. But my level of awareness, that was actually a lot of money, because I came from a blue-collar family. And I pretty much had made, like, I don't know, $15 an hour was a lot of money for me. So I thought, wow, $25 an hour, that's a lot of money for me. Even though when I went into practice, every therapist in town was charging 100. But that wasn't part of my awareness. I couldn't relate to it because it just wasn't part of my makeup. And so it took me years and years of incrementally raising my rates until I noticed that I had to vibrationally raise my awareness so that I could connect with people whose consciousness also already knew that they could pay $100 an hour. So that strata of consciousness I wasn't part of, so I had to increase my awareness to go into it. Also, nobody in my family had ever gone to college, and I was the first person in my family who got a master's degree. So for my family, I had to really increase my awareness of what was out there. And when I graduated from high school, I looked around, every one of my friends were gone. I went, where did everybody go? Well, they were in college. They were getting their degree. And I was sitting at home laying in the sun because I thought that was really fun to do, until all of a sudden I thought, oh my God, I'm not doing anything with my life. I had to increase my awareness. The next thing that I had to increase my awareness was, because I teach internationally now, all over the world. Nobody in my family ever traveled off of the west coast of the United States. And the first time I got on an airplane to go to Australia to teach, my family showed up at the airport because it was like this big life event. But I had to conceive. I couldn't even conceive of it, actually. I am together with my partner who he conceived of it. And after following him around the world long enough, all of a sudden it became part of my reality. But I had to increase my awareness of possibility so that I could actually access a bigger life, so that my life could open up. And then all kinds of things opened up. And once I got a momentum about that, it's also about education. So to increase your awareness, as I'm sure all of you do, the way that you thought, 20 years ago is very different than how you think now. But there's so much out there to investigate and educate yourself with. And you've got to be able to see what other realities are like, and potentials and possibilities are like, so that you can make a decision to go in that direction. Kate, did you want to add anything to that?
Oh yeah, just also that 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 dreaming place, like being really open to dreaming lots. Because for me, I think the awareness of what I can kind of achieve comes down to my dreams, comes down to my vision, and that I just keep that as high as possible all the time. I never, I never kind of bring any kind of boundaries in with my vision and my dreams for my life. I just keep them like way beyond, like they're almost like they could be imaginary, they could be kind of, I don't know, I could be in like another world almost. Um, and I just feel that I don't question that reality for myself. I just have it there, in my head all the time. And that increases my
That's
awareness.
great. And in your dreaming, so also that level of awareness that when you trust that you have a connection to your spirit, and that your instincts and your intuition are gonna open up possibilities and potentials that your ordinary mind couldn't think of. So when I think of the mind, I think of two different aspects. You have your intelligence, the way that your physical brain thinks is very different than your higher mind, where your inspirations and the connection to the universe come from. Like your brain on a daily basis will have a tendency to think about events, circumstances, conversations that you had, and you'll just replay them over and over without thinking. You're like on automatic rewind over and over and over in your brain. And you can train your brain to do different things, but it's a biological function. You can train it to think and read and do math and figure out problem solving, but the true inspirations come from your higher mind. And learning how to open up your awareness to your higher mind and those potentials is really critical when you're going to move beyond the level of ordinary life. And I think that's what also you're talking about, that you have a connection in your dreaming world to that higher mind and those intuitions and the places where you can
My imagination.
connect.
My potential.
And yes, your imagination. Yes, nothing was ever created on this planet without an imagination. Okay,
Yes.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
kind of move through a little quicker. So the thing that people have to do that we've talked about before is belief systems or paradigms. That you can have fantastic inspirations, you can be picturing the details of what you want to create, but if you have an old paradigm blocking that, there's no way you're going to manifest it. And our paradigms came from our classrooms, from our teachers, from our culture, and paradigms are really just habits. We do what we do because we've always done it. We do what we do because we were taught to do it. And when you don't question it, you're just going to continue to do it forever. And so that repetition of habit creates paradigms, and it creates neural pathways in your brain, and those neural pathways are constantly creating chemical reactions in your body that create feelings, and then out of your feelings come behavior and emotions. And then, so you may have a big inspiration for something wonderful to do, but your programming can sabotage it in seconds. And so it is just absolutely critical to notice your programming and deal with it. And so the next thing that I want to start going into is
Before you go on to that, I just want to say that the program that we're running is about how we notice the programming within us, because it's really, and I find this in my own life, that it's very difficult on your own to know your programming, because you're so in the program, you know? And,
yes.
And until you kind of get taught how deep you are in the program, it's very difficult to get out. And it's very difficult to see the reality of what you are beginning to feed yourself, believe, and perceive as your reality. And your reality is not what you perceive it to be. That's what I know to be the case. My reality that I see in front of me is not the reality that is I know to be true and in my heart. But sometimes we believe that reality. But we do need to, have, it's almost like a new teaching, but a new teaching that doesn't try and define you as anything. It's a new teaching that wants to explore the possibilities of who you are in the highest and deepest possible way through every aspect of your being. And that's, for me, what I'm so passionate about. And I know you are as well, Sage. I just wanted to say that.
I love the way you said that too. So we adjust along those lines that we are created with the same substance as Mother, Father, God. We're vibrational beings. We live in a quantum universe. So if any of you have ever read Cryon's book, The 12 Layers of the DNA, I love that book, because Cryon says created in your DNA is your consciousness of Mother, Father, God of the universe. And in your DNA, you are programmed with your own I am presence. Your I am presence is your individualized aspect of Mother, Father, God. And so in every cell of your body, every cell, you have your I am presence, and you have the energy of Mother, Father, God. And what is that energy? It's creative. So in Hinduism, they also say that God is omnipresent, that in every cell of your body is the Atman, is your soul, and the Paramatma is the larger God consciousness. It's everywhere, in every atom of existence. And so when you really understand that is so powerful, to be able to integrate that, knowing that in every cell in my body is a creative force of God, that I am that creative force. And knowing that I am the creative force of the universe means that I can manifest everything. But when that creative force is mixed with doubt and fear, that is the big killer of creation. And so understanding at all times, am I in a state of doubt and fear, or am I in a state of love? Because love is the great cohesive power of the universe, and is the vibrational action which coalesces the universal light substance into the picture of what you desire to produce. That means that love is like the magnetic glue that pulls your desires to you much faster. The love is the vibration that attaches and rides the currents of your thoughts and your feelings and then magnetizes everything towards you, which is pulling together the light substance of the universe. Remember, we live in a quantum field. Your body has a particular vibrational frequency. It's your thoughts, your feelings, your history, your quantum field is constantly putting messages out to the universe, and it is attaching to the light substance out there and drawing it towards you. And that is incredibly powerful. We need to understand we are unlimited in our ability to create, and we are creating at every second of every moment of every time, day, night, sleeping, awake, it doesn't matter. You are a creative, manifesting being.
Yeah. And that's a huge kind of belief turnaround for many people. I mean, you can kind of conceive it in your head, but the actual reality of bringing that belief and letting it be the foundation of your life is a big deal. And that's what the program's about, really.
Yes, it is. It is the core of the program. So this picture that I have up here now, I hope everybody can see it since nobody said that they could see
No, I
these
can
pictures.
see you. They're all actually, all the answers was in the questions bit. So everybody said yes. And lots
Oh,
of
good. Okay.
people find them. So
So this is called the chart of the I am presence. And if you look at the chart, the person down below is you. And the being up above with all the light rays coming out, that's your I am presence. Now, that just shows the I am presence above you. But if you could see, if the picture was really brought down to its tiny form, in the heart where there's a little light circle in the middle of the heart of this person, you also have the threefold flame of the heart there. So you have the presence of your divine feminine nature, the presence of your divine masculine nature. So the feminine is pink, the masculine is blue, the center is golden, and the golden is your I am presence within your heart. So that's why it's so critical to connect in with your heart, because your heart will always be your connection to your God nature, your goddess nature. And also within your cells of your body is your I am presence and your divine nature. So when you are connecting, you can imagine, you can call this anything you want. This can be your higher mental body. This can be your God nature. This can be nature itself if that's more comfortable to you. It's nature. It's your goddess self. It doesn't really matter what you call it, but because it's the term that I use is the I am presence, that I'm just going to use that term, but don't get stuck on a term because it can be your authentic self, your higher authentic nature. That's not the point. It's that you have this aspect of yourself that is connected always to God and Mother, Father, God, and never ever loses that connection. We just lose it.
I'm just a bit of time, Sage, because we want to do the exercise and we're 1:45.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm going to just do this frame right here and then we're going to do the exercise.
Okay.
So that's what I want you to do. We are going to practice right now. We're going to go through this. And I want you're going to hold a clear picture of what you desire to produce, and you're going to go into it with great detail. You're going to bring in all your senses, all your knowing, and then you're going to practice pouring love to your I am presence. You pour love into your I am presence, and then you picture your picture again, and you pour love into the picture itself. And then I want you to imagine that your I am presence actually gave you that inspiration, and that you picture the outcome of it. I want you to imagine that there's a hand coming down from the goddess and delivering it to you with her hand, and to go into your gratitude. So let me just make sure there's nothing on the next one. Yeah. Okay. So I want you right now. We're gonna practice saying demands. This is a very strange thing for people. That there's something called giving a demand to your I am presence. And when you do this, most of us are taught to be humble in front of God, or that God doesn't hear us and we can't talk to God or the goddess, but I want you to learn how to give a command. So first thing is I'm going to imagine that I'm manifesting. I'm working on this project with a friend of mine in Africa. We're raising $19,000 for a well for his community. So if I want to use that, I am going to go through all the details of what it looks like for people giving me all the money. I have lots of money. I'm flying to Africa. His whole community is coming out. We're all celebrating. They're digging the well. The water is flying up in the air. I'm seeing then all of his crops are growing. And then I'm connecting to my I am presence. And I'm loving my I am presence. And then I'm going to say to my I am presence, I command and demand through the love of my heart and the love of my I am presence that you bring me all the right people and the funding in the most fun and enjoyable way, that I have all the money I need to produce this well, and that the I am presence of every man, woman, and child involved line up, and that everybody connect together to bring the money to me in a fluid, effortless, fun way. And I thank you so much that for the presence, I know that this is going to happen. I can see you handing me the well in my hand and me handing as a gift to this community, and I'm so grateful. That's a really fast way to do it, but I want to give you guys more time to do it yourself. So what the exercise is today, I want you first of all to go inside and just feel what I've been talking about, that you have an I am presence above you, you have your I am presence within you, you have the entire universe. You can just imagine Mother, Father, God of the universe. Their energy is omnipresent, it's everywhere. And I want you to feel a loving connection with that presence, that there's a real relationship, that that part of you, your goddess self or your authentic nature, knows you. It is you. It is you. That's why I want you to feel there's no separation between who you are in this body and that part of yourself. And I want you to intend and create and imagine on purpose that you have a mad love affair with that part of yourself. Just take a minute to feel that. And then bring into your awareness that you two are in partnership of creation on this planet. Everything in your world, your I am presence, wants to give you all good things. There's nothing that your I am presence and that the universe or that the world around you doesn't want to give you. It has a yes, so long as you have a yes. So now I want you to go inside, and what is it that you would like to create in your life? And I want you to take a minute, and I want you to think in great detail, as many details as you possibly can, creating a very clear picture. And along with the picture, I want you to infuse positive emotions into it. And now I want you to practice. Nobody can hear you. You're all on mute, but it's really important to feel what comes up when you do this. I want you to feel your loving relationship with that nature part of yourself that is you, and I want you to say out loud, I command and demand the fulfillment of my desire to come to me in the most fun and enjoyable and loving way possible. It's the word demand that I want you to understand, that this is a gift from the Ascended Masters to use the word demand. It's like you are taking control of your world around you, just like that very first webinar we had when I said, you are the king of your kingdom and the goddess is the unmanifested realm. This is the same thing. You are the queen of your world around you, and the unmanifested realm is your I am presence. And the goddess in that story was just waiting with bated breath for anything that you wanted, because she wanted to show you how much she loved you. So it's the same with your I am presence. So I command and demand the fulfillment of my whatever it is. So I want you to say it one more time, and this time I want you to say it with a little more oomph and a lot more love. And now I want you to feel in your heart the anticipation of it coming to you with excitement, that there is total knowing and anticipation of how is my I am presence going to bring this to me. And at the same time, I want you to see and visualize in your head that your I am presence is handing it to you on her beautiful hands because she loves you so much. And I want you to feel yourself receiving the gift. And now in your third chakra, this is the third chakra, you've got to know that she's going to give you inspiration about what to do and when. So as you're going through life, you're going to have to listen. Oh, now her instruction is talk to this person. Go to this place. Make sure you take care of this. Think about this. Clear this out. And you start to listen to her because she's going to give you instructions. And you've got to stay determined and persevering through it. You've got to go into action. Trust her. Trust in the divine timing and surrender to her presence. The more that you can surrender, knowing that Mother, Father, God is taking care of all of your needs, and your I am presence is telling you all the time through your heart, showing you what needs to be done, and that you develop a loving relationship to that and surrendering to that higher part of yourself. Surrender in this context means that you're surrendering to a higher, all-knowing aspect of yourself that is far better at knowing what's good for you than your ego mind that gets trapped in the past. And then you must go into action. You have to take action in the material realm in a grounded way. What steps do I take? And listen to her, and listen in the moment, and get 1 or 2 instructions about what you can do to take it into action. Okay, now we're going to open it up to comments and questions.
Yeah, does anybody have any questions? Let's see. Maybe if you could put up your hand, that's probably the best thing.
Yep. Put up your hand, press that little. And Kate, maybe you could say what your process was like when you just went through it.
Well, I was focusing on other things in the moment rather than going through the process myself. So I can't really say. But oh, here we have a question. Hang on, this is Joe. Um, shall I mute you, Joe, now? Shall I do that or shall I speak?
No, have her ask her question.
Let's go, Joe, yeah? Joe, if you mute yourself. Hello? Yeah, I think you're there. Hello? We can hear you. Hello?
So, Joe, there's a little green button up above that is a...
Clicking it on and off at the moment. You're not doing it, Sage, are you?
Doing what?
You're not clicking on the button, no?
No.
No, don't you click on it. I'll do the clicking, but I think it's just You need to press that button and speak. Yeah, you keep on turning it on and off, but for some reason your sound I don't think isn't working. Maybe type the question in. If you go to chat at the bottom, or put in or write in the question. And maybe we have another person that can.
Is there another question out there?
Yeah, let's have another question or comment.
So while in the meantime, while you're trying to get that, I want to say that when I first started doing this, this was so uncomfortable to me, commanding and demanding that the universe listen to me. Like, who am I to be commanding and demanding the universe? And does God actually, or my I am presence, my divine nature, really care about me enough? And that for me was like a huge belief system to change. And now I know that for me to fully step into my power, that is me saying I am part of the universe and I'm in alignment with the universe, and that I know that the universe loves me. And it's really, that is such a huge thing to be able to stand in that kind of power
Yeah,
and make your needs known and to state it, and with the full knowing that it's going to be met. But that took a lot of work for me, and kind of years actually, to keep practicing that until I got to this place. So that's why I wanted people to practice, just so they could feel what comes up for them.
yeah. I mean, for me, it doesn't take. I'm quite in that place of commanding and demanding. I think I've spent a lifetime doing that with my parents, in all honesty. So I kind of had the practice when I was
That's
young.
funny.
I was like they passive, and I had to come in and be the more assertive child, at least at home, maybe not in school. But anyway, I learned how to like access that point inside of you, because it is, you have to access your body to be able to do it. You can't do it from your throat chakra. It has to come from a deep place inside of you, and but it's also, again, it's merging that with that sense of love. It's not, the love needs to be part of it, otherwise you feel like, you're a kind of, you're, it's almost like it doesn't have the soul in it, in a way. Anyway, I can see that Joe just wrote something here, so let me see what she's written. So she wants to know the date when we start the program, that is.
That's a really good question, but we're going to have to get back to her
Oh
on
no,
that.
I know the date we start. The date is,
Oh, good.
yeah, don't worry. The date is the 8th of April. That's the start date. And then the September retreat dates are on the 22nd through to the 26th. So yeah, so we'll be actually beginning the whole of the program on the 8th of April, and you know, that's when you'll have your information before then as to what, what's what you need to be doing, in terms of setting up Facebook page as well, because that will need to happen. You'll need to join that, but officially that's the date when you'll be receiving the information from the online aspect of the program. It's, maybe you can, if anybody else has a question that they want to ask. Oh, okay, we have another question. This is Shelley, so I'm going to unmute you, Shelley. So unmute yourself.
Hiya, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hiya. I just wanted to know about visualization, because I find it really hard to visualize my dreams sometimes. So, is there an easier way to do that?
If you have a hard time visualizing, you can write.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just
okay.
write down in as much detail, and sometimes writing is even more powerful than visualizing. So you just write down all the details of what you're trying to manifest.
And also, I would say there's a strong emphasis on visualization in the New Age community. And, my experience actually is my strongest channel is my body, not my visual channel. Although it used to be my visual channel, actually, but it's not anymore. it's my body. And I feel like manifestation actually is far more powerful when it's aligned with your body. We were talking about the body elemental earlier, weren't we, Sage? How actually grounding, like your vision, it needs to come through the body. It needs to come into the earth in a way. And so if it gets locked in the visual channel up in the ether, then it doesn't actually ground properly anyway. So if you can feel it in your body, that's great. So that's another way you can kind of work with it.
Yeah, I was going to say the feeling is probably better then. It's more powerful, is it?
Well,
Well,
nothing happens without the feeling channel being activated, because it's the
Yeah.
feeling channel that your universe actually reads your body more than your mind. So you can say, oh, I'm going to make $50,000 doing this business deal or whatever. But if your body's like, oh no, I'm not, that's way too much. The universe is reading your body, not your thoughts.
yeah.
Right, okay.
And
Thank you very much.
the more in tune with your body, the more then you'll be able to see when something's in alignment with you for you as well, and or not. So, when I know something's really true for me, my body shivers all over. I get a big yes. And I'm like, cool, this is great, this is right. And that actually makes me believe in what it is I'm trying to manifest more, because I get the signal in my body spontaneously that it's right. So I
Mm.
know, well, this is an affirmation that this is right for me. My body is my body tells me. So my body, I feel, is like the quickest route from the soul as well, from my soul into, what it is that's right for me. So,
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much. That's really helped.
okay, thank you. That's great.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so it's 1 o'clock. Our hour's done, and I mean 9 o'clock there, right? I'm on the west coast of the United States.
And one thing I wanted to say about the bonus, because we offered a bonus, didn't we, this time for those that listened? So one of the things that I'm going to be organising, if you could all email me, my email address is on my website. But if you could all email me your time, date, place of birth, and what I will do is send you through a report, which is an astrological report from Solar Fire. Now, none of you will have Solar Fire unless you're astrologers. And I don't think anybody is on this call. And that is astrological kind of charting system software. And there's an interpretations aspect to it, which means that I can then send you all through like the interpretation, the actual written interpretation of your astrological chart, and it will give you a good sense of where it will explain a little bit for you, but also you'll be able to then go out and explore more about your astrological chart through researching online. So this is what I wanted to really offer people, and also for those that come on the program, there'll be an expansion of that, obviously, and more work around that. But this is a good beginning start for people. So I hope you will enjoy that. But please do email me so I have your email address, and it's the time, date, place of birth. And if you don't have the time, that's fine. Just stipulate that, and I'll send you through the date of birth. It'll just be a little bit more limited, but it'll still have information there.
Yeah, Kate, I wanted to say how important I'm learning now while I'm doing my work on myself, how important your astrology chart is. When you have a complete chart and you really understand your chart, that part of the increase your level of awareness is actually increase your level of awareness about yourself. And the more that you know about yourself through your chart, it will tell you all your hidden places that you came here to work on. It will tell you your gifts that you came to work with. It will give you information about your life path, what your destiny is, and areas that you're gifted at and areas that you need to work on. And that is all really critical when you're going to be really a powerful conscious manifester. It's very, very helpful to have all that information. So that's a really nice gift, Kate, that you're giving people.
Yeah, and it'll be a start for everyone. And I just see that Kitty also has a couple of questions, which is just written there, which is, where is the location of the retreat? The retreat is outside London. It's in a place called Hexton, Hexton, and it's a beautiful little quaint village in the middle of nowhere, pretty much. Apart from the fact there's a beautiful little cafe in a church just down the road, and yeah, it's this amazing manor house which we've got for ourselves with huge grounds. It's amazing. I've stayed in it myself, so I know it's amazing. The energy is really great, and it's owned actually by an astrologer, so it's got good spiritual energy there. So no, you don't need to book a hotel. Is the answer to the second question that you had, because you'll all be staying in this place. So yeah, I hope that answers your questions.
Yeah, and I wanted to say for me, originally Kate and I were organizing the retreat. The 5 month program came along because we knew that actually when people want to make real change in their life, you need to devote some time to make changes. And 4 days isn't enough to make a complete transformation, but 5 months of devoting your life to that on some level is enough. And so, but the retreat is the thing that I love the most. For me, it's the heart and soul of the program. I love when women get together and work on themselves together and play together and do ceremony and ritual, and those retreats for me are super fun. They're really deep, and that's your real connection to being women and coming together
And
as women.
let's not forget the initiations, which are just hugely powerful catalysts for your growth. I mean, they were my huge catalysts that they changed my life forever, completely. And so, the initiations are going to be hugely life changing for all women. If you've done your 5 months worth of work and you've cleared your past history and your beliefs, and you're changing your consciousness and you're working with the sacred fire and all the other things that we are putting together, then those initiations will really propel you forwards. I mean, that's my belief, and that's what I've seen in my own life, and that's what we want to share. So, I'm so excited.
I'm super excited about that.
We're so excited by the whole program. We just can't wait. Is there any more questions before we go? Let's see. Any more? I think that might be it. We've got one more person saying, I'm so excited, looking forward to seeing this work. We've got somebody else saying, thank you so much for sharing all this work with us. It's amazing. These are great. Thank you. Any feedback, please send it to us as well. And any questions you have, please direct them to me about the program. I'm happy to answer. And yeah, thank you all for spending this time with us. And thank you, Sage,
Yes.
for doing that amazing process. It was really cool, and I really love that. I'm looking forward to doing it on myself tomorrow when I've got not a crying baby in the background, basically.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody for being on, and the feedback that we have gotten from people is so valuable to me. I want to appreciate everybody whenever you do write something, because this is such a big edge for me to do webinars and computer work. It's so not me. Give me a retreat any day, I'm totally at home. But this is new. So if you have some feedback, good or anything that you would like to be a little different, I'm happy to have it. All of it is great. And I really want to thank you all for taking the time out of your day. I really, really am sending all of you love and blessings.
And we'll see you in our next webinar, which will be in 2 weeks' time, 8 p.m. Monday again. And please all forward it on to your friends this time and really share it out there. We need this shared. Thank you so much, everyone. Lots of love.
Thank you. Lots of love. Bye-bye.
Bye.